Hey everyone, Beth here. How are you doing? Welcome to my studio here in Hammersmith, my Yoga Lattes London little studio that I've got here. I'm going to talk you through today ways that you can practice Yin Yoga at home if you don't have any fancy yoga props, because many of us don't right at home, but there's so much online content at the moment. I'm running a weekly Yoga Lattes classes and yoga classes, and I'm running a mini retreat this afternoon which is Yin Yoga based with guided meditation. So if you're thinking of coming to that but you're not sure, you don't have enough props, or you've never done yoga before, I can tell you this is a great practice to do at home. If you have, if you, from beginners to the more experienced, everyone can practice this stuff. So I'm going to talk you through ways that you can kind of get creative with props at home to be able to practice this kind of stuff at home. So if you're watching this live, do pop me a comment and let me know. And then I'll talk you through, or we'll practice a little bit of Yin Yoga. So one of the poses, one of my favourite poses, is the butterfly in Yin. So I'm going to guide you through that using very basic props that you might have around the house. So to get started, I was just going to talk you through a little bit about what Yin Yoga is before we do anything. So if you've never practiced Yin Yoga, this is a really soft, slow, passive style of yoga, and it's 99% floor based. So it's great for people who've never done yoga before, if you're more restricted in your bodies, if you have a tighter body. This is all going to be very soft and slow, and you want to get creative with the props that you've got to be able to support the body, because what we want to encourage is a sense of letting go of tension on a muscular level, so you can get really deep down to that fascia, that connective tissue below that wraps everything in the body and is on a deeper level in the body, into the joints. So if you're if you have a tighter body, this could be a perfect style of yoga for you to practice at home on a regular basis. And if you are feeling particularly stressed today, or anxious or overwhelmed, this is a really tricky time for so many of us. If you're losing your patience with your family, if you have a really stressful job, if you're working in the NHS at the moment, all of these things can be really helped by this kind of softer, slower practice. So we hold the poses for 3 to 5 minutes in Yin, which can sound a little bit overwhelming if you've seen a yoga poses before. If you practice regular yoga, that might seem a little bit intimidating. But we use a lot of props to support the body, so that you're not sort of holding tension in the body, that the body can let go, and we can just be really nice and soft and relaxed and passive in the poses. If it sounds a bit intimidating, I promise you, there are ways that we can kind of make it much more accessible, and you want the body to be able to relax into the poses. So you might need a yoga mat. If you have a yoga mat, great, but actually for this style of yoga, you don't really need one. You can just use the floor. So, because of course most of this is floor based, so getting comfortable, having maybe a blanket instead of a yoga mat if you don't have one, is absolutely fine. So it's quite nice to have some things around to sit the hips up on. As I always say in my classes, having the knees lower than the hips, or level with the hips, is really important. So if you don't have like a thin yoga block to sit on, it can be really nice to use a book. I've got Deliciously Ella's cookbook here. To be quite honest, I've only ever dipped into this every now and then, to be honest, but it's good, it's a good size. You could even get something maybe slightly thicker than that to sit up on. And then also works is like cushion or a pillow even, or a couple of cushions to have around. Really important for Yin, because we want the body to feel nice and supported, and so using as much padding as you can really helps. Sofa cushions are a godsend for this kind of practice. Blanket, this is really nice, also just for at the end, because it's nice to feel nice and warm and toasty when we're lying in relaxation at the end. So having like a blanket, and I would say avoid maybe the squishier type of blankets, so something firm, 1 or 2 blankets even can be really nice to have. So you can sit up onto a blanket even if you want to as well, to sit the hips up, or like I said, a cushion or a couple of cushions. Quite often we use a strap in Yin and regular yoga, but if you don't have a strap, you can use a belt, or if you've got like a scarf, like a more sort of torch scarf at home, that's a really nice way of finding an alternative. Chair. So I've got a little stool here this can be useful if you're more restricted in your body. So if you're tighter in your body for example, as I'll show you when we get into the butterfly pose, which I'm going to lead you guys through in a moment, having something here if you're more restricted can be great, because the folding forward action, sometimes just having something in front for support can be really nice if you're not so flexible. So a little stool or a chair can be really great, and bolster. So I love my yoga bolster, and they are fantastic for Yin Yoga. If you don't have a bolster, a great way of making a bolster at home, which a friend taught me, thanks Diane for this idea. If you've got like a pillow, so like any pillow that you've got on your bed, or maybe 2 pillows if you want a bigger bolster, if you get your blanket and you lay your blanket out long, so you kind of lay it along the mat, and you've got your pillow. Oh, my mum made me this pillow. It's quite old now, but thanks Mum, it's one beautiful little case. And then you fold your pillow over, so you kind of fold it lengthways, so you're sort of getting a little bit more padding there. And then you want to roll it in your blanket, nice and tightly. And then, hey presto, bolster. And then if you want it to make it bigger, you can wrap another blanket around it, or like I said, maybe you want to use 2 pillows in there. But that can be a really nice way of creating a really easy, simple bolster that anyone could do, just using things around the house. I think that's it. That's all I wanted to go over with you guys, is ways we could use it. But let's have a go at one yin pose. So we'll be doing this later on this afternoon in my mini retreat, which I'll tell you guys about right at the end of the video. So sit your hips up onto something, maybe a cushion, or like I said, a couple of blankets. And we'll just start, before we do anything, just by centering the body. So coming into a comfortable seated position, whether that looks like just sitting on a chair for you, that's fine too. And sitting up nice and tall through the spine, allowing the shoulders to relax down away from the ears, and opening through the collarbones, through the chest here. Relaxing any tension that you can feel in your body. So whether that's maybe in the face, maybe there's a tendency of gripping our jaw sometimes, so seeing if we can let that go. Softening between the eyebrows. Relaxing around the eyes. Allowing the shoulders to drop down. And just coming back to this nice smooth breath. So sometimes if you're feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed, just coming back to closing the eyes and following the path of the breath, that in itself is a great way to reconnect and recenter our awareness, to calm an overactive nervous system, to allow the heart rate to slow down. And the belly softens with that smooth path of the breath. In through the nostrils, filling the lungs, and exhaling, nice long smooth exhale. And just spending a minute or two just observing the breath, slowing everything down, bringing the awareness in internally, can really help to settle the energy. Becoming aware of the contact with the ground through the sit bones, that tethering action to the ground beneath us. Almost like an anchor from the sit bones down. and gently opening the eyes. And we're going to come into this pose, as I said, my favourite pose in Yin, the butterfly. It's super easy to come into. Bring the legs forward one by one. And we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together. I hope you can see that. So you want about 2 hands lengths between the pelvis and the heels here. So we don't want to be super close in. We want to give it a little bit of space there. And then placing the hands somewhere comfortable. And if you need any cushions underneath the knees here, if it's feeling like a little bit uncomfortable having the knees out like this for the hips, then supporting the knees with some cushions can be really nice. And then maybe just resting here. So we're going to hold this pose for about 3 minutes. If you're happy to, you can start to come forward. So I really like using props to support myself in this forward bend, so I'm not holding tension, trying to hold myself up. The whole point of this practice is to let go. You know, we really want to encourage the muscles to relax. So using my homemade bolster, and you can use, if you've not got a homemade bolster yet, or a bolster, you can pop a couple of cushions, or like I said, just using something for support here in front of you, like a chair or a stool, something high up, even like if you've got a coffee table or something, just coming to that, just resting the head there. So what we're doing is we're coming to the first point of resistance in the body, where we can feel a little bit of a sensation, whether that's in the hips for you, maybe into the lower back. We don't want to be going so far that we're going into pain. We want it to be just a sense of gentle opening, gentle kind of tension in the body, but not to the point where there's sharp or shooting pain. So just going just as far as feels comfortable in this pose. So you can come into a forward bend if you want to, or like I said, you can stay upright. And just closing the eyes, and we're going to be here for about a few minutes. So I'm going to time us in this pose. And noticing where you might be gripping any tension here, seeing if we can let go of that. Whether there's any gripping or holding into the shoulders. Making sure the head is supported on something can be really nice here if you're folding forward. So stack as many cushions as you like. Relaxing the breath, really connecting the breath to the sensation is important in this practice. So noticing where you might be feeling a gentle pull. And allowing or visualizing the breath kind of flooding that area in the body. This is really a practice of being rather than doing. And after a minute or two, if you are really feeling supported in the pose, you might start to feel a sense of ease creeping in through those tissues. Easeful breath. And a sense of ease perhaps creeping into the mind. Because as we know, this is all connected, all these parts of ourselves. Letting go, if we can, a little bit deeper, making sure you're feeling supported and that you can let go of any muscular effort. So noticing if you're holding any tension in the fingers, thumbs, in the face. So knowing at any time that you can come back and out of the pose. If you feel it's too strong or if it's not working for you, you can add more props to support yourself a bit more. If you feel that at this point that any tissues have sort of opened up, any tighter tissues, and you feel a sense of space coming in, you can remove some of the props and come deeper if you wish. Only if that's allowing, if the body allows it. So we're just going to be here for about another 30 seconds. Always going back to that smooth breath. Long exhalation. Take another breath in and exhale, slowly starting to make your way up. So one hand at a time, coming up, and then just maybe reaching the hands back, extending the legs one by one, nice and slowly, maybe just taking the feet side to side, just loosening tension there. And sometimes I just like to flop the legs and just to lift the chest and take a bit of a back bend after that. Allowing the breath to come nice and relaxed in through the nose. Maybe a nice big sigh out through the mouth can be nice on the exhale. Just sensing the rebound, the echo from the pose. Sensing any changes that you might notice in the body. And hopefully you may have found just in those few minutes that you're feeling a bit more relaxed and at ease, and I do hope so. So if you like this video, pop a comment and let me know. I'm going to be teaching a Yin Yoga retreat this afternoon, so from 3 till 5. I'm doing this on a fortnightly basis, so every other Saturday, 3 till 5, online, anyone can join. Like I said, you can use a lot of props from around the house. You don't really need any yoga equipment for this. You can even do it in your pyjamas, which is always a big bonus for me because I like to be in comfortable clothes a lot of the time. So yes, let me know if you've got any questions, and if you enjoyed this, do let me know. Pop a comment in the chat, and I'll pop the link to the event this afternoon if anyone wants to join us. And I'll see you guys all soon. Take good care and enjoy your Saturday.